Today I'm going to be doing a wear test on the new Wet n Wild Photofocus Dewy formulation of this foundation, and I'm going to be pairing it with the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer as well as the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, just to really kind of get a feel for these new dewy and hydrating products and see how they wear on my combo to oily skin. So if you're interested in seeing how these products wear, then please keep on watching. I'm really excited to try all of these things today because I love a dewy look right now. That's like my go-to type of look. All of the products that I'm using today have that claim that it'll help give that natural, like skin-like fresh dewy look. So I'm excited to test that out and to see if it will have an all-day wear for me. So the products I'm going to use today are the Wet n Wild new Photofocus Dewy Foundation. I have the shade Caramel. It was the deepest shade at the drugstore, so if you do have a deeper shade than me, then count on going online or to an Ulta that might have a bigger shade range. The concealers that I picked up are in medium warm and medium beige. They are from e.l.f. It is the new Hydrating Camo Concealer. I really love the coverage in the original Camo Concealer, but I did not like how matte they were. They were super dry underneath my eyes and they set really quickly, so I'm hoping this will be a good alternative for me. Lastly, I have the Luminous Putty Primer from e.l.f. I already love the original Putty Primer, which is supposed to be more of a matte finish, so I am very interested to see whether or not this is going to give me the same benefits, but with a dewy finish. So we're going to test all of these out today and see how they wear. Let's get started by prepping my skin. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Superhydrate Moisturizer. It has a jelly consistency, so pickup is a little interesting because it kind of like flops off of your finger, but I like this because I can use more or less with this because it's so light and airy. It doesn't feel like I'm drowning my skin in a ton of product if I were to layer a little bit more in those areas. If you didn't watch my last video, I just explained that I do have eczema flares and I can get very, very patchy. Even though I am naturally combo to oily, I can get very dry and patchy when those flares happen because my skin will get super dry and bumpy. That's like the worst part, is it gets bumpy. You can see it leaves a nice fresh glow on the skin. I will say it's super thin. Like it feels like water. You can tell from like the jelly texture of it that it pretty much melts down into your skin and it leaves you hydrated, leaves a fresh glow, but it doesn't leave you feeling super heavy either. Next product is the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer. It's just a twist off, just like that. And it is a ton of product, honestly. This, I don't know when I'll go through this. I'm grabbing a little bit with the tip of my fingernail. This is a lot more pliable than the original Putty Primer, I'll say. It picked up a lot easier. I'm going to start off with this amount and then go from there. So, just like that. Rub it and warm it up in between my fingers, and then I start off in the center of my face and then blend out. I'll grab a little bit more. The feeling of the primer is more lightweight than the poreless Putty Primer, the original, and that's just because I feel like with a matte primer that's focusing on pore smoothing, it's going to have a denser, thicker texture because it's designed to help fill pores. So with this one, I felt like it blended a lot easier. I didn't have to warm it up as much in my fingers, and I was just able to help it glide over my skin without a lot of tug. So it's a very subtle, you know, will reflect in light type of glow. You can see as it's hitting like my forehead specifically, but that glows everywhere. I don't have the best camera setup or lighting, so sometimes you can't really see it on the rest of my face, but on the high points you definitely can see what it looks like everywhere else. It's super pretty, super light, yellow warm glow, and there's definitely no huge chunks, so no huge glitter chunks. So this is great to either wear alone underneath a tinted moisturizer or pair with your favorite dewy foundation. If you guys didn't know, Wet n Wild went ahead and released a new formulation, a dewy formulation of their original Photofocus foundation, which is extremely popular in the drugstore. It performs well, it's matte, and it has great coverage. I'm hoping that this dewy formulation still keeps up to the Photofocus hype, where it gives me that long wear and it gives me the good coverage, but also looks flawless. So in terms of packaging. This looks very similar to the original formula. You twist off the top, and that actually has a spatula. You can use a sponge to take off the product. I don't really mind just applying this to the skin unless, you know, I have something crazy going on my face. So I'm gonna apply it a half first so that you guys can see the difference from one side to the other, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna actually use a beauty blender to apply on this side, and then we'll use a brush on the other side. So I got a fresh, clean beauty blender, nice and damp. A weightless, super nourishing foundation that delivers natural, all-day wear. Silky and creamy, coverage is easily buildable from medium to full, and it easily transitions from day to night wear. Ideal for normal to dry to skin types, this moisturizing formula blends seamlessly, blurs imperfections, and helps minimize the appearance of pores for a perfectly smooth, dewy finish. This color is working for me. It is a little bit deeper than my skin tone right now, but I'm not worried about that because the sun is coming back out and I am going to get darker very quickly. So here is one application. So here are things I noticed so far. With the amount of product I have on, I do have a lighter coverage than I would have expected. I feel like I have a light to light medium amount of coverage currently. You can still see like my sunspot here pretty clearly. I would say I can definitely still see the e.l.f. primer underneath, which is great. I want the dewy effect, but I can see it very prominently. So to me, that tells me that the foundation coverage is pretty light. It isn't clinging to any of my dry spots so far. It looks great. I'm just gonna need more coverage than this, so I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer and see how that goes. Here's another layer of the foundation. I would say I have a medium coverage right now. The application with the beauty blender was pretty seamless, very easy to blend, had no issues. I just don't think I have a full coverage, but I also don't want to add another layer. I think this is good for me. So now I'm going to finish the other side with a brush and we're going to see how that goes. I'm going to use an IT Cosmetics brush. This is a flat top kabuki styled brush. It is called the Airbrush Buffing Foundation. It is number 110. So this side is the side applied with the brush, and then this side is the side applied with the beauty blender. I'm looking at the screen and it looks like the foundation is translating super yellow on the screen. It's darker, but it's not that yellow in person, I promise. When comparing the two sides, I would say I have the same amount of coverage. Both applications were very seamless, very easy. I didn't get streaking at all with the brush, and I don't have any patches or clinging to drier areas on either side of my face. The coverage looks exactly the same on both sides. So with that being said, I don't have a preference to using a brush or a sponge. Next up are the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealers. I was very surprised when I went to the store to pick these up because they are very different in shade range from the original Camo Concealer. Here's the original Camo Concealer in Medium Peach, and these both are also from the medium family. And when you hold them up next to each other, there's a huge difference in the color. I mean, this looks light. I was kind of upset because there were only two shades when I picked up the concealer, and it was the medium or the light. And it didn't work as well for me because of the color. It looked a little bit more gray underneath the eye. So I'm very happy that they updated the shade range because this looks a lot more true to the medium family than this does. This one here is a light concealer, and that to me looks like it would be in the fair family. So shout out to e.l.f. for updating the shade range. I think they heard the beauty community when we were flustered with the shade range and the way that the medium showed up on our skin tones. It just wasn't right. So now with the new and updated medium family, I'm gonna try medium warm and medium beige on my hand, and then I'll decide which one might work better for me. So the first one I'm swatching here is medium warm. This one here is medium beige. So this is probably more neutral. Yep, definitely more neutral. Medium warm is definitely more peachy, and medium beige is definitely more neutral. If I want to highlight, I'm going to do medium neutral, and then medium warm would definitely be more of like my everyday concealer. I'm actually going to use both because the peachiness here will help counteract any darkness underneath my eyes, and this will help brighten. So first up is medium warm. I'm going to go ahead and just place that towards the inner corner of my eye. where darkness usually resides for most people. I'm gonna blend this out first with the Beauty Blender, and then we're gonna add the medium beige to highlight. So here's the medium warm application. I'm gonna go ahead and brighten now with the medium beige. The best part about this concealer, I love this bigger doe foot applicator on the concealers because I definitely use a lot of concealer and it helps with application. It's just easier to be able to apply more product at once. Here we are. I just finished applying the concealers. I am very happy with the application, very easy to blend. I would say I have a medium coverage on and it has a fresh, dewy glow. So definitely living up to its claims. And last but not least, thank you, e.l.f. for updating the shade range because the mediums in the original formulation. I'm going to use 2 Laura Mercier setting powders to set my face. I'm going to use the translucent to set underneath my eyes, and I'm going to use the translucent glow to help maintain the glowiness and dewiness of my skin. I'm going to use that on the rest of my face. And you might ask why I wouldn't use the glow underneath my eyes as well. It's because I've used it underneath my eyes in the past and it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. There's too much glow in the powder. So I would say definitely stick to a translucent powder underneath your eyes. I'm just using a very light amount. I want to give this product a fair run, and why not just use a powder that I know works for me. What I'm seeing here is translating a lot better on camera now that my face is set for some reason. So here's the foundation. And I am going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face, come back, let you know what time it is before I leave, and then we're going to give it a test. When I completed the rest of my face, I said I was going to do an everyday eye look, but ended up with this. So I'm going to just go ahead and balance it out with a nude lipstick. The lip combo I'm going to use is BFF3 from Colourpop and Naked Dare from Maybelline. Alright, now all I gotta do is set my foundation. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Cucumber 3-in-1 Primer Water Spray. And this is also from the Photofocus line. This is the completed look. This is what my foundation is looking like currently. The time now is 2:07 p.m. I'm gonna go and run all of my errands. I'm most likely just gonna go to Target, to be honest with you, so Target is just gonna get all of this beat. But yeah, I'm gonna head out for the rest of the day and I will be back to check in with you guys and let you know how the foundation held up. I'm back checking in at 9:10 p.m. so about 7 hours later. I am definitely looking a little dewy. I'd say mostly in my T-zone area, usually my problem area, so I'm actually not surprised. But everywhere else actually still looks really good. I'm not tacky here, but I'm actually not tacky here either. I'm not tacky, but I know there definitely is oil. And yes, there is a little bit of transfer coming off on my fingers, but I will say the coverage still looks really good. I don't have foundation missing from many areas. There's a little bit of settling in my smile lines right around here, but nothing too crazy. My concealer is still in place. There is a little bit of creasing underneath my eyes, but nothing too crazy for 7 hours of wear and this much oil. And my shadow isn't smudging and my mascara is not transferred to the under eye area. As far as my blush, bronzer, and highlights staying on and staying put, I think that for the most part, it's still as saturated now as it was 7 hours ago, which is kind of crazy considering the amount of oil that I have going on right here in my T-zone. I give both the foundation and a concealer an A. They are both $6, so you are really not losing anything by trying this foundation. I think that it looks great. I think it held up well. The coverage is still there. Yes, there is oil showing through, but that is to be expected with my skin type. And I don't look excessively oily, if that makes sense. I could definitely look a lot greasier than this at 7 hours in. And at 7 hours in, I could also be missing a lot of the product that I put on initially. Shout out to Wet n Wild. This foundation definitely lived up to the hype. Good job, e.l.f. on the concealer. The formulation is great and a lot better for me in terms of shade range. I think the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer definitely had something to do with the stay all day wear that I got, so I definitely recommend checking this out as well. These products are definitely going to be a staple for me. I hope you guys go and try these products out. Please let me know what you think in the comments below if you do go and try them. That wraps it up. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming.